Folks, welcome back. This is Chris in England. I oftentimes get stupid comments from people about why is this guy so obsessed with South Africa? Who is he? What is he doing? Well, frankly, at times I just got to state emphatically that South Africa can be quite entertaining. Let's go with the story that broke today in the Independent Online. The South African Communist Party leader, Saleh Mapaila, criticized Donald Trump as a monster and the greatest killer. Trump has never killed anyone. He says, calling him a monster terrible, the greatest killer in the world, and a gangster who calls himself president. Nope. 76 million people, more than the entire population of South Africa, including those illegal aliens whom you are xenophobic against, all call Donald Trump president. The law also calls him president, and the world calls him president. Notice the world leaders gather around in the Oval Office, sitting as he held court recently after his conversation with Putin. By comparison, what are folks calling Saleh Mapaila? Mampara. And these are Mampara of the week, and it's just Monday. Mapaila made his comical remarks on Saturday, August 30th, 2025, during a picket organized by the South African Communist Party outside the United States consulate in Johannesburg. Brilliant move. Attention-seeking. You see, the consulate is closed on Saturday, and more importantly, the consulate does not formulate foreign policy. The embassy in Hatfield, Pretoria, formulates our foreign policy. So this is just dumb and lazy, too lazy to drive to Pretoria. Now, the protest was aimed at urging U.S. government to lift its sanctions on Iran, end its illegal blockade of Cuba, halt military provocations against Venezuela, and stop arming Israel. Lifting sanctions against a state sponsor of terrorism that provides resources to the Houthis, Hamas, and Hezbollah, all of whom murder innocent civilians of all faiths. I don't think that's going to happen. And its illegal blockade of Cuba. Apparently, English is obviously not his strong suit. The U.S. blockade of Cuba began and ended in 1962, nearly 63 years ago. President Kennedy called it a quarantine to pretend that it was not an act of war, which it was. A blockade is an act of war. But that ended a long time ago, Solly. There's no blockade in Cuba. That's utter nonsense. He said the U.S. is trying to maintain its monopoly on nuclear weapons while violating international disarmament agreements. What international disarmament agreement have we violated? We haven't violated any disarmament agreements. We've upheld every single one we've been a signatory to. He's full of nonsense. Now, perhaps the South African Communist Party Secretary General has a small vocabulary or does not understand English. Russia, China, Israel, France, Pakistan, the United Kingdom also have nuclear weapons. If the U.S. had a monopoly, no one else would have a nuclear weapon, genius. He says the U.S., it wants to be the only nation holding nuclear weapons in this world, and we reject this aggressiveness. That's not aggressive. And what prompts this stupid comment on his part? Envy or ignorance? No doubt Mapaila envisions a world in which any or every country possesses nuclear weapons. Why? Deterrence has worked since 1945 in preventing a nuclear conflict. Who needs more nuclear powers? No one. We need fewer. He says the U.S. has become the most destabilizing force in the world today. So I have to ask the question, is the air too thin in his world? The historic Abraham Accords, peace between Israel, Morocco, Sudan, United Arab Emirates, negotiated by the Trump team. Perhaps he missed peace in the DRC after 35 years of conflict, which the African Union, SADC, UN couldn't stop. But Trump did, negotiated by the Trump team. Or the ceasefire in the Caucasus, negotiated by the Trump team. North Korea ceasing to fire intercontinental ballistic missiles over the Japanese airspace, which is an act of war, stopped by Trump. Contrary to this mouthpiece from the South African Communist Party, Trump is stabilizing the world, not destabilizing. Sully needs more oxygen to get to his brain. He says that's why we're here today, to contribute to the destruction of the U.S.'s intention to be the world's policeman. Well, Sully, do you want the job to police the anarchic international order? Feel free. So how do you intend to accomplish that? With the South African Navy's one operational German frigate? None of your Type 209 diesel submarines are operational, and you have no discernible maritime air patrol capacity. Perhaps one of South Africa's fictional aircraft carriers would help you, be the world's policeman. If were it not for the United States being policemen, pirates would steal most of the Chinese imports that are clothing and feeding the impoverished black South Africans, long ago abandoned by the ANC and SACP as they expanded their waistlines and filled their boot with loot. The U.S. is addicted to oil, he says, gas and minerals, and that's why they're interfering in the Middle East. Okay, so this is the problem with people who aren't very bright and too lazy to do basic research. The United States imports less than 500,000 barrels of oil a day from the Middle East, and almost all of that comes from our close ally, Saudi Arabia. Now, this represents 7% of oil imports, but less than 2% of all U.S. daily oil consumption. Less than 2%. Hardly an addiction, Sully. Addicted to oil? U.S. is the world's largest oil and largest energy producer and is a net exporter of hydrocarbons, genius. We send them back to the world, Europe in particular. The ANC and its corrupt mining patronage networks are the ones addicted to minerals, which they need to extract to survive and ship to China. He says here in South Africa, we must ensure our minerals do not find their way into the U.S. We should benefit from them here at home, using them to build our economy. So cutting off your nose to spite your face. Is that what you're up to, Mr. Clueless? Pretend communist? Not shipping your minerals abroad so you can get the benefication of them. How? Your steel foundries are closing. Your oil refineries are mostly closed. Your infrastructure is collapsing. How exactly do you expect to benefit from these minerals in South Africa? And do you fancy yourself some sort of major global colossus exporting automobiles, electronics, computers to the world? Communists, they just don't get it. Like most pretend communists, Sully has no concept of macroeconomics, international trade, or economic expansion. But that we should not expect too much of people who think economic growth occurs when you steal from others. We can't expect them to have any real grasp on reality. And that's the bottom line. So that's South African Communist Party leader talking about Donald Trump saying absolutely ridiculous things, protesting outside our consulate, which doesn't formulate foreign policy, which processes visas. Yeah, it's a good thing that many of the political leaders in South Africa are pretty stupid and not very bright. It just makes it so easy to expose their foolhardiness. I mean, look, the guy could have made a mistake and misspoke once or twice, but the entire conversation in the independent line is nothing but a passel of lies. I mean, a blockade? Do you not know what a blockade is? Then don't comment on it. An embargo is different. You can embargo, you just don't import. But a blockade is actively blocking access to a country. Nobody's blockading Cuba. Nobody's been doing it since 1962. Stupid people should wear signs. And apparently, if you're a member of the Communist Party, you're being led by stupid people. What say you, South Africa, Mzansi? Cheers.